Hey, everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. It's another week, and we all made it. Alonso here with Matt and Christy, and so much news to talk about from this past week.
There's so much news. It's been really busy, but of course, the breaking news it continues to break all week long is the dog napping of Lady Gaga's French bulldogs.
Ooh, and
wait, what?
This is a horrible story.
What? I haven't heard about this.
Her dog walker got shot multiple times, and 2 of her 3 French bulldogs were dog napped.
Yes.
Wait, who got shot?
Lady Gaga's dog walker.
Jesus.
She has multiple Frenchies, and so her longtime dog walker was walking all 3 of them down the street, and some person approached him with a gun, shot him multiple times, grabbed 2 of the 3 Frenchies. The 3rd one ran away, but then later was recovered. And he's going to be fine. His name is Ryan Fisher. He's going to be fine. But 2 of the dogs, their names are Koji and Gustav, are still out there. They have been dog napped. And Lady Gaga was out of the country filming a movie, but has offered a $500,000 reward.
No questions asked.
To bring the dogs back. There are all kinds of pictures of Lady Gaga's Frenchies all over the place. Koji and Gustav were the white and fawn colored ones, but then the black colored Frenchie is the one that is still around. And I think
of course they don't want the black one.
Oh, they're all so sweet. But the thing is, they don't know. So a couple things. LAPD has now put its elite robbery and homicide team on the case. And I think it's still unknown as to whether this person was targeted specifically because he was Lady Gaga's dog walker or because Frenchies are really valuable. Like Frenchie puppies can be like $2,000-$3,000.
Well, shit, they're even more valuable now.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's just like Frenchies are expensive and so they are a target, or this person actually knew because people know who Lady Gaga's dogs are. Anyway.
So my first thought immediately was like, well, are the dogs chipped? But then I realized, oh, wait, those aren't like LoJack. Like you can't just activate and there's a ping that tells you where the dog is.
I think there is, right? Because like if Baxter is chipped, if Baxter were gone, I can call the number and read the number on his chip, right?
Right. But I think that only then tells you
if somebody finds him and scans him.
I see.
Right?
Somebody
he has
had
to be
brought
scanned.
him in. I see.
Right. Again, it's not like LoJack where it's like a little like it pings out. Although that would be great.
I was going to say, Find My Dog should be an app. Right?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Anyway,
Come on, Apple.
If you know where Lady Gaga's Frenchies are, first of all, if you took them, shame on you. That's horrifying and shitty. And this guy has been shot. It's awful. Anyway,
well,
TMZ.
I'm glad he's recovering. That was I read. I was like, what? That was awful.
He is.
How
also
did I miss that?
It just happened a couple days ago. Also in the celebrity injury news, Tiger Woods got into a really bad accident kind of near my house. Not too far.
Yes, a 1-car accident, they said.
You know what though? Okay, so where he got in an accident is this stretch of Hawthorne. Hawthorne cuts across the hill from one side up and back to the other side again. And it's like a really wide, like curving and really steep curve as you're heading downhill northbound on Hawthorne. And so he was right where Rolling Hills Estates becomes, where Rancho PV becomes Rolling Hills Estates, to such an extent that he like crossed the median, he plowed through the welcome to Rolling Hills Estate sign, and then it flipped and rolled multiple times. All the airbags deployed. They had to pull him out. They had to like crowbar open the windshield. And this was like 7:12 a.m. the other day.
Yeah, I read that somebody had said that the seatbelt definitely helped save his life.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, there were no skid marks. There's no indication that like he braked. So I don't know whether he just like was looking down at his phone to look at a text for like a second. And like, I mean, people get into crashes on this area all the time. It's really steep, and you really pick up speed, and you don't realize how fast you're going. He's okay. It's funny. The deputy who got there first didn't realize it was him, and like asked him his name. And when he said Tiger, he's like, oh, of course. So, but he like broke both of his legs and like shattered his right ankle. And I mean, he'll probably never play again. So
poor guy.
But that was very exciting. There were helicopters.
Whatever, it's golf. You just stand around.
You just stand there. You just like whack the ball. You don't need your lower body. It's just your arms. So, so that was exciting.
Y'all, we're gonna get letters.
No, it's he's really
Send
really
complaints
lucky.
to Alonso Duralde.
But he had been in a courtesy vehicle from this golf tournament here at Riviera Country Club that he was helping co-host. He hasn't played in a while because he's had like multiple back surgeries. So he was in this like incredibly safe Hyundai Genesis with like every safety feature you can imagine. And so he was really, really protected. And so he's very lucky to be alive. So that was exciting. That happened here. Also,
the great Hyundai ad. We saved Tiger's life.
We're good enough for Tiger Woods. Good enough for you. You think you don't want a Hyundai.
But
maybe
check this
do.
out.
Anyway, also, if you guys know me, you know I enjoy LA geography. The way he was going from Ta-Nehisi Resort on the south side of the peninsula to the Rolling Hills Country Club, I wouldn't have gone that way. I would have gone right on Crest and then left on Crenshaw. I would have gone a totally different way to avoid that curve. He could have avoided that curve entirely.
Christy Lemire, the Californian.
Stuart.
What are you doing here?
So that was exciting. Also, okay, so this is a topic we've talked about for the entire year, and now there finally is news. Movie theaters are opening in New York City, you guys.
I heard they were thinking about it.
I think they are, and it's next month, and it's like 25% capacity.
Yeah. Again, this seems like, are we ready? And then also, what are they going to show? Like, I mean, I guess Warner Brothers stuff is opening in theaters when it also opens on HBO Max, and I guess Universal still got their AMC deal, but
put Tenet back.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, The Father is something that we're going to talk about a couple of weeks down the road, but I feel like doesn't The Father have a theatrical opening this week?
Yeah, New York, LA this week, and then expanded March 12th, and then it's not like PVOD until March 26th.
Right.
No,
But
like,
like,
is that when Oscar nominations come out? Because I suspect that's what they're trying to get
somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Yes,
where in LA are they showing that?
The Vineland Drive-In in the City of Industry.
Oh, right. Okay.
There are still drive-ins, right?
Yeah.
And like we're talking about the Billie Eilish documentary later today, and that is in IMAX. I mean, of course it's streaming too, but like if you wanted to go see it in IMAX, you could. So like, surely one of the big multiplexes, I can't recall because it's been so long. Like they must have.
Well, AMC, they have actual IMAX and they have AMC IMAX, which
the one in Times Square, the AMC in Times Square, right?
Sure.
Has IMAX.
Or as Alonso calls it, the Limax.
Live, exactly. I didn't invent that, but yeah.
Shouldn't all the drive-ins be IMAXs?
IMAXs?
I don't know that you can do IMAX outdoors. Actually, I think it's such a, in the sound. I don't know. I don't think that works though. I get what you're saying, but I don't think you can pull that up. So does that mean the Billie Eilish movie is like square, basically? Like, is it? Because that's what they're saying about.
She is not cool at all. It's super square.
No, but that's what they're saying about Justice League, the Zack Snyder Justice League, that it's going to be square on our televisions because he wants it to be playable in IMAX when that can happen.
I'll tell you what the future of film is going to be. It's going to be giant portrait style, so that it looks good on everybody's mobile device and on a big screen. That's the future.
Yikes, that is sad. Anyway, but I was just listening to the Gavin Newsom newser, and numbers in California are really, really going down. Like 6 weeks ago, the positivity rate in California was like 14 point something %, and today it's 2.7.
Wow. All right.
So like we've immunized over 8 million people in California.
Okay.
So like I think numbers are looking good here. My kid goes back to school in 2 weeks. And they're hoping to get the middle schools and the high schools back in mid-April. I mean, again, we are a different district. We're not LA schools down here, but I feel like there's hope. I know.
I mean, at some point, we do have to sort of slide back into normalcy. I just think we've already seen what happens when we do that prematurely, and so I hope that's not happening again.
Yeah, I'm not going out to dinner anytime soon.
And it's going to cost AMC and all these other theater chains so much to like hire everybody back and do all the wiping down and do all the prep and
and then they're going to do the wiping down.
Well, you know what I mean. But then to have it closed 2 weeks later, it's just like it's like all those restaurants that went out of their way to create outdoor spaces and then had to close again anyway. It's like it's just they're throwing away money on these half-hearted soft openings that don't go anywhere. It's not good for anybody.
Yes. So this weekend is the Golden Globes. A thing that I totally forgot even exists. But there was a giant takeout in the Sunday LA Times about how, and again, it's like from the Department of Water is Wet, like the Golden Globes are corrupt. It's not that shocking, but there are details as to people being on the take and
I think the only thing that struck me as being like new in that LA Times piece, because it's very easy to retread all the old sins of the HFPA, is that apparently a lot of their members get paid for being on committees.
Right.
And they're a nonprofit. And, and then somebody else, this wasn't in the article, but somebody else pointed out later, is it fair to say that they're all employees of NBC? Because the big influx of cash that the HFPA gets every year is NBC paying for the broadcast rights to the Globes. And does that then create a conflict of interest with NBC properties and Universal properties?
So I'm of a mind anymore that it is because of the questionable ethics of the Golden Globe of the HFPA. I think that I think there's an ethics issue in even covering the awards ceremony. That's just me personally. Everybody else can do what they want, but I don't really particularly care to promote it and talk about it and make it a big deal because it's all fucking bullshit, right? Part of the and you're right, like that they're getting paid by the organization then means that any member that's getting paid to be and decent salaries from what that article, like 6-figure salaries.
Yeah.
Then they have zero motivation to clean it up. Absolutely not. Coupled with, Sharon Waxman wrote that great piece like 15 years ago about the Golden Globes. And then Vulture published this list about 5 years ago of whatever members they could figure out. And only maybe like 10 of them are actually like legit working journalists. And the rest of them are like photographers or just cool people.
I think a lot of the impetus for this article was this Norwegian journalist who was rejected.
Well, and so
was suing.
And notably, like they've always left out places like Le Monde and some of the big outlets from other countries. And look, like we all know, those of us that are kind of inside baseball on this, we all know that it's a setup, right? Like we all know that it was a thing to like, oh, we'll just get this pulled together and make our own awards so that we don't have to worry about the Oscars. The thing that is most troubling to me is that entire membership, like they don't say who's in it. And for that matter, I'll say the same thing about the Academy, right?
But the Academy is not a secret. Like they announce new members every time they have a new slate. They announce that like they're easy to find.
Yeah, they announce the new members, but God forbid you want the whole list of members because they won't release that.
No.
Oh,
you don't think publicists get that when they're doing their Oscar campaigns and stuff?
I think that there was that LA Times thing a while back where, remember that was the big thing that came out about how it was like 80% old white dudes, and the problem is they had to do this huge research to try and like drum up who's on the list. It's not like the Academy has a list of everybody that's in it that's just out there and available, similar to the HFPA certainly doesn't. Like you look around on their site, they are not releasing a list of voting members. And I don't think the Academy does either.
Yeah, I mean, the Academy, at least I think, can fall back on the idea of like, we're an industry organization. Their money comes from like all the studios, basically, and they represent people throughout the filmmaking industry. Whereas like the Globes are 80 foreign journalists whose identities are a secret. Journalists, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. It's like how the National Board of Review sounds like it's a film critics organization, but it's not. It's just a bunch of people in New York who pay money to belong to this group where they get to see movies early.
And they vote first.
And I guess
exactly, yeah.
I guess somewhat of my point is I question whether or not, journalists should be covering awards given by a body where it's not transparent who's voting.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the LA Film Critics website and we're all listed on there.
We're all there. Right? There's a picture of us too, so you can see us.
Yes.
Right. SAG is the union, and theoretically you would be relatively easily able to figure out who's in SAG.
Right. And there's a clear cut process by which one qualifies to become a member of SAG or the Directors Guild or the Writers Guild or whatever.
Right. So I mean, I understand why the secrecy, because you don't want anyone, I mean, on both of these organizations, you don't want anyone really paying attention. Same thing with the Oscars, right? Because the minute you start seeing who actually is a voting member in the Oscars, it's like, oh, well, no wonder they skew this way, right? And the Oscars doesn't want to be known as like the old white guy awards, even though
they're getting better at that.
Yeah, and they've radically changed that in the last 5 years or so.
I understand that, and I understand that they announce who's getting invited, but still, it's like, yeah, but you still got hundreds of people that haven't made movies probably in decades.
Right, but that was one of the new rules, though. In addition to adding all the young folks, it was like people who'd been.
That was one of the new rules on the table, and I don't think that actually passed, right? Because there was such.
I think they did, right? You have to have made a movie in X number of years.
Didn't like Tab Hunter or somebody get really mad about it? Not
right. I guess my whole point is, why not just tell us who's voting? Yeah. What are you hiding?
Anyway, the Golden Globes, which don't matter and we don't give a shit about, are this Sunday. Fingers crossed for music and Kate Hudson and Jared Leto.
I was convinced that they nominated music because like Kate Hudson had been a former Miss Golden Globe, but I looked it up and she wasn't.
No,
but she may be. They may like her, but she was never a Miss Golden Globe.
No, it's just who's going to show up to the show, right? Like it's who's going to show. It's who's got the star power that they want at the show.
But there's no show. There
is no show, and you had to dig to find music even existed as a movie. So you know,
they did not in any way try to get us to see it.
No,
I know a lot of our lovely listeners and viewers out there have been like, "Gosh, guys, it'd be wonderful if you could review music."
In the name of total honesty, I believe I was offered a screener early on. I was like, no.
I don't think I ever.
And I'm just. I'm conflicted because I'm a huge Sia fan. I've loved her for years and years and years. Got to meet her a couple of times, and I'm bummed out that this movie's getting so savaged. And I'm like, maybe I don't want to see it.
Anyway, moving on. So if you care about the Golden Globes, you can watch them. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are going to host them from New York and LA, respectively, from different locations. I'm sure they'll be funny, as always. Other exciting news this week. The Paramount Plus slate got announced, and it's basically like we went to the Wayback Machine to 1992 because they're doing reboots of like Frasier and the Rugrats and Beavis and Butthead. There's going to be a new Beavis and Butthead movie. They're bringing back all those old MTV properties like Unplugged and Yo MTV Raps. So
it was very much what's in the vault, like they talked about remakes of The Parallax View and, I forget what else. Like, okay, this is, and I think it was Mark Harris who pointed out on Twitter. So now basically everybody but Universal and Sony is basically what we call the legacy studios are now just existing as these theater companies for streaming services. And give Universal and Sony time, they'll catch up, I'm sure.
This is exactly the same way that the birth of the CD saved the record industry in the 80s, because the record industry was dying because everybody had the albums and the CDs come out and suddenly everybody had to replace their entire collection. And it bought the record companies like another decade and a half.
Same with DVDs and Blu-rays for VHS.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But what's after this? Once you have a streaming platform, then you take everything off the streaming platform and put it into the chip that goes into your brain. Like,
we're gonna have those blender-looking things on, like we saw the Riddler build in Batman Forever that shoots it right into your brain.
There you go.
Among the many, but speaking of revisiting nostalgic things from our past, there's gonna be a Frogger game show on Peacock.
Why not?
They are shooting it in Australia.
Like please tell me it's like American Ninja style. Like you gotta, like it's an actual
traffic and gators.
But like an actual, like you gotta jump over stuff. That's awesome.
So.
I am in.
They're shooting. Well, Matt, they're looking for contestants. So if you can go to Australia between May 22nd and June 26th, put in for this.
Make it happen.
I want to be a driver.
It's funny because just right before this got announced, a friend of mine made the comment about how, like, if you going for a walk anywhere in LA now, it's like you're playing Frogger to avoid the people who want to get in your, too close to you. So I guess it's relevant.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
That's kind of awesome. Like taking old video games and turning them into like game shows. That's terrific, right?
Like Burger Time.
Burger Time, totally. Well, that's kind of every cooking show, right? I mean,
Tapper
would be good.
No, that was Bar Rescue.
Speaking of games, Mr. Potato Head is no longer Mr. Potato Head.
Wait.
But then they backtrack on that. So
Right. So they've just changed the overall
packaging.
Brand, the line. It's just the Potato Head line, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Mr. Potato Head toys. It's now Potato Head toys, but there is still a Mr. Potato Head and a Mrs. Potato Head.
There is. And so when you look at the boxes, it says Potato Head at the top, but then in like the fine print down at the bottom, it specifies, in various languages, Senor Papa Cabeza or whatever it is. So just so it's not like a whole week of like Fox News Channel content about non-binary potato.
Well, but here's the thing: like, if you got a potato head that had both gender toys, like that's the original trans toy, right? Like, and I don't mean this to make fun. I'm all in, right? Okay.
I mean, the real conversation here is that toys have been ridiculously gendered for the longest time. Like, you remember the letter writing campaign that the girl started because her little brother wanted to be a chef and he wanted an easy bake oven, but they were all pink and purple. Yeah. And she was trying to get them to make like a chrome one. And it's like, it's so much of toys out there. It's like, it's so ridiculously, this is pink and purple and it is for girls and only girls, and this is blue and black and this is for boys and only boys. And it's like, look, Marlo Thomas told us in the 1970s some boys want a doll and like they should be able to have one. And
it's all right to cry.
Yes, exactly. And some girls might want a pickup truck, and like it doesn't like let them have those things, and let's stop like creating these ridiculous color codes and implant these notions into kids that are just noxious.
The girl Legos were kind of a bummer, right? Because there was that line of Legos that came out within the last 10 years that it was really focused on young girls. And so the figurines, instead of looking like the classic little block figurine, they were the same size, but they were skinny girl looking. And it was a little like,
but that's how we get Unikitty, is it not? Is Unikitty not made up of girl Legos?
They just happen to be pink.
Do you guys know about the pink tax, by the way? This is going way off topic.
Yes.
That for a lot of toiletries and sanitary products, that things that are identical for men's or for women's, the women's one will be pink and it will cost like 15% more for no good reason at all. And it's just a way to women at the drugstore.
California had to pass a law. I think California did, but there's a law that says that dry cleaners can't charge more for blouses ironing a women's blouse than a men's blouse. Yeah. Going back to Potato Head, I a little bit miss the days when, because if I remember correctly, they originally just boxed up the pieces and not
you had to have your own potato and shove a nose into it.
Like, you need your own potato, fucker.
Old school,
right? Yes. Potato not included.
Exactly.
Do you see the whole thing that happened this week with the various Spider-Man 3 titles?
Yes.
It was really cute. So Tom Holland and Jacob Batalon and Zendaya all posted on Instagram different titles for what the third Spider-Man is going to be. One was Phone Home, one was Home Wrecker, one was Home Slice. And then they shot a really cute video where they revealed what the actual one is. And it's Home Again?
No, right? I thought it was like never...
I thought it was something like Can't Go Home Again or something.
Yeah.
Never say Home Again.
I don't know what the actual title is.
I don't either.
No Time for Home.
My favorite was Spider-Man Homestar Runner, but
oh yeah, that was a good one. There was also Homeschooled, and then like a note that said like May says no.
Spider-Man 3 is gonna be called, hold on, No Way Home.
No Way Home. There we go.
Right.
At least they didn't call it No Direction Home. That would have been too.
Anyway,
right.
So that was very cute.
Down for that, I think.
Spider-Man 3, No Way Jose. That's
also we have
real quick on Spider-Man 3. Tom Holland has also recently said that the previous two movie Spider-Man are not in the film. Yeah. Right now, I have two theories on that.
Okay.
Because he has also said, well, I would know if they're in the movie and I haven't seen them. Right now,
not if you're Gwyneth Paltrow.
Well, so there's two other pieces to that. A, he's finally learned how to lie. Mm-hmm. B, how do you know who's in a spider suit? Right? If you have 2 other people on set, I have every confidence that the producers of the movie are lying to him because
he's untrustworthy.
He's better than an advertiser. Right? Telephone, telegraph, Tom Holland.
That's really cute. Yeah, who knows? We have some release date updates for you. Speaking of theaters possibly opening in our lives, Mission Impossible 7 and A Quiet Place 2 are going to end up in Paramount Plus after just 45 days in the theaters. So that little window is bigger than the Universal window, but smaller than what it had been traditionally, where it had been like 90 days. So, so Mission Impossible, so Quiet Place 2 will now supposedly come out on September 17th, and Mission Impossible 7 will come out on November 17th.
And it's the opposite of what Warner Brothers is doing, where the HBO Max window is the limited one and theatrical goes for whatever, and then it goes back to streaming. But Paramount is like, theaters get 45 days and that's it, we're done.
That's interesting. So there's that. Fry's Electronics is going out of business and closing all of its stores. Do you guys have fond memories of Fry's?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, like, I'm not like a super tech person, but it was just a big, handy place that had every damn thing on earth. And, you know, the one in Burbank was tiki themed, right, Matt?
No, that was the spaceship one.
Oh, you're right. It was
the one in El Segundo was the tiki theme one.
The Manhattan Beach one was like giant Easter Island heads, and it was all Polynesian themed.
Yeah. But it was just like, you know, if you needed a certain cable or you had to upgrade you needed to get a region-free Blu-ray player or whatever, like that was just, you'd go to Fry's.
I mean, it was like the Superstore version of what Radio Shack had used to be, right? And especially like, especially like once Radio Shack, first of all, Radio Shack pivoted to being like just more consumer friendly, like no longer the nerd stop.
Yeah.
Right. But then it became, but when Radio Shack finally shut down, you know, if you weren't lucky enough to have a Fry's nearby you and wherever you lived, like there's a bunch of them in California, but if you weren't lucky enough for that, you had to order stuff on the web. That was it. Right now. If
you lived in the Bay Area, listen to sports talk radio, you would hear on KMBR all the time the ads for your Best Buys are always at Fry's, guaranteed. You hear it all the time.
Well, buying stuff on the internet, I'm sure, is what killed Fry's.
I'm sure. Daft Punk has split up. They are not playing at my house or your house. After 28 years, they put out this.
Or are they?
Or are they? They could be in the Spider-Man suits, and we wouldn't know.
I kept waiting for the day that Daft Punk was going to become like Blue Man Group, and they would just sort of, you know, you would go see a show in Vegas or whatever, and who knows who'd be wearing the outfits, but the whole thing was pre-programmed and pre-choreographed, and but it was a good run. Bless them.
That was one of the plots on The Good Place, right? Was where was it? Jason, the idiot one, was like filling in for a DJ like Deadmau5 or somebody like that wore a mask, and he really fucked it up and then took the mask off, and Deadmau5 like, no, you never take the mask off, because then I don't have to show up at gigs. I just send somebody else.
I should have mentioned this back when we were in Spider-Man land. I apologize. We're going back to comic book stuff now.
Yes.
A new Superman movie was just announced today.
Yes.
Written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and J.J. Abrams is producing, and they're going to be looking for a new Superman. It's not Henry Cavill. How is this going to work compared to the Justice League stuff?
So here's a good question. If they are willing to do the multiverse, at least when they did the New 52 a few years back, I think it was the Earth 2 Superman was black. It was a black dude from Krypton.
Oh, interesting.
So, right? Boy, you want to give
that.
I mean, like, you want to give Fox News something to talk about.
Well, aren't there going to be multiple Batman? Like, isn't Affleck going to be Batman in certain movies?
I think it's
Robert
Batsman.
Pattinson, the Attorney General.
Sorry, exactly.
Bat people.
So no, I'm just assuming that they'll have sort of parallel storylines going on. And I mean, look, we've still got a movie Flash and a TV Flash, lest we forget. So I don't think we've seen the last of Cavill necessarily, but Coates has written a bunch of he wrote Black Panther for Marvel for a while, right? The comic book. So yeah, I'll be interested to see his take on this.
That would be cool. Also, there's a Showtime series they've announced some casting for. It's called The First Lady, and I guess it's a different presidential administration for each. you get Viola Davis as Michelle Obama. That's pretty badass.
Okay,
that's cool.
That's some good casting. Michelle Pfeiffer is Betty Ford, and Gillian Anderson is Eleanor Roosevelt.
I would love to see Catherine Hahn as a really over-the-top drunk Betty Ford.
She could just do everything. She could be Nancy Reagan. That'd be fun.
She could do Rosalind Carter too.
Yes. Prince Harry did Carpool Karaoke with James Corden, but they did a whole thing where they had a double-decker bus and they sat at the top of it having tea and driving around Beverly Hills. And he talked about how the British tabloid media was so toxic and so predatory that he had to get his wife and his son out of there. And that's a big reason why. But this was recorded prior to the most recent development that they are like stepping down from some of their more official, like they're doing it in stages anyway. But he talked about how the reasoning for that.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No.
Oh, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine how awful it is. Especially, you know, given who Meghan Markle is and what she looks like. I'm sure that they were incredibly
Yeah, I mean,
cruel.
it's like having 10 versions of the New York Post with better circulation.
Yes. A couple more things. Shailene Woodley's marrying Aaron Rodgers. Do you guys know who Aaron Rodgers is?
Sports person?
He's quarterback for the Packers.
Okay. Well, all right.
She didn't know, but you know what, Alonso, she didn't really know either. She just met him. And
okay. He's the other A-Rod?
Not only has she never been to a Packers game, she's never been to a football game in her entire life. But she's been dating Aaron Rodgers.
Did they like immediately buy her the cheese thing to put on her head? Or?
Yes, but she probably only wants it to be like organic artisanal cheese.
Yes, clearly.
There you go. Also, Costco is raising the minimum wage for its starting employees to $16 an hour.
Good.
Costco does it right, man.
They do. They have been on the forefront. Their minimum wage in 2018 was $14 an hour, and then it was $15 an hour in 2019, and now it's $16 an hour for their starting employees. So good for them.
Every time Walmart does something gross, it's like, you know what? Costco is doing just fine, and they're not treating their employees like garbage.
And they make damn good chocolate chip cookies.
Also that. And a chicken roll.
Oh my God. A couple more things. Kim Kardashian has officially now filed for divorce from Kanye. That had been in the works. They've been separated, but now there is paperwork. Obama and Bruce Springsteen have a new podcast together. The first 2 episodes of it are out. It is called Renegades Born in the USA. And
I was really hoping you were going to say that it was going to be a new album.
Maybe. I mean, what can't Obama do? I'm sure he could. You know, we've heard him sing Amazing Grace. Right? I'm sure he could sing along with Springsteen. So that is an 8-episode series on Spotify. And Handmaid's Tale season 4 begins April 28th.
Woohoo!
We will be talking about it here on our Patreon.
Heck yeah.
That's it.
Looking
That's
forward to
a lot
that.
of news.
And the MODOK show premieres in May.
Finally.
You've wanted it for a long time, Alonso.
Also on Hulu. Well, I'm really more excited for Matt because I know he's a super fan.
I mean, MODOK is just the best example of the iconic artist Jack Kirby just going entirely too far with his design. Yeah, MODOK, he's fucking hilarious, right? And so it's a comedy, and he's voiced by Patton Oswalt. Like you can't ask for any. I mean, that's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
If you're gonna do a MODOK show,
right? I mean,
do a MODOK.
Yeah,
show.
and that moronic MODOK would be so welcome in the MCU. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, it'll be curious.
To look forward to.
It'll be curious to see how canonical it is, but anything is possible with by the time this season of WandaVision is over, like all bets are off. Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of WandaVision, you can hear us talk about that on our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We're also wrapping up season 1 of Bridgerton this week. We finally just watched the exciting finale, the climax, if you will. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Lots of fun stuff there. And, we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.